Our goal with this podcast is that you know how to give any client life-changing results in relation to jumping. But even for someone who's older, these principles will relate to having more youthful bounce. We don't need notes for this one because these hidden gems are just a part of us. So, Derek, what's the number one hidden gem for jumping?
I know it was a joke last time, but it's actually going reverse of your approach, and I didn't even realize over these years how I was really regaining my athleticism by doing so much sled work. It was like my intuition was just talking to me.
Drew, let's pull up a visual of Derek dunking at 43. It's pretty impressive. I've never seen someone as athletic as him at 43.
Chill out. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Come on, who's better than that? Who's more athletic than you at 43? Who's beating you one-on-one at 43?
Nah, that's a different
See?
story. Nah, no way. That's a whole different story right there. But now, yeah, just the reverse, man. Like doing sleds and realizing, man, and I think you hit me to this, like going reverse of your approach and even like healing your knees, going reverse, and then actually jumping higher, going reverse. And it's always like counterintuitive, but it's almost like it's a magic, know? So yeah, I appreciate you putting me on, B.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, man?
Well, and Derek, Derek's gone backward sled every day for quite a few years now. I took a break while I was trying to see if we could mimic the results of a sled without a sled.
I remember you saying
we got some great stuff, some great tools. However, nothing beats an actual sled. So I now, for quite a while now, just back on the classic ATG program, the same ATG program it was before COVID hit. And we go backwards sled every day. We also go forwards, but we go backwards every workout. So we have 5 workouts a week. We go backwards before everyone. But I know if I come in here on the weekend, I know who I'm going to see in here doing backwards sled.
Hey, can't tell the world. But yeah, you are jumping out this world right now.
Appreciate
Do you
that.
feel like it's because you kind of got back doing that traditional ATG system or what?
Yeah, I think my feet got stronger. I made progress even without the sled, just from diving into all these other nooks and crannies. So then you add the sled, it's like the same rim feels like it's like 9 feet high now compared to before. It's just easier.
Yeah.
It's way more effortless.
Yeah, he out here like it's a Nerf hoop, man. It's crazy.
appreciate
He's not.
that.
He said 6'1", 6'2". He probably a good 6 foot.
Any
and like
scouts are watching, I'm
3/4.
6'3".
But
Any
but yeah,
scouts?
it's ridiculous, man. He's just like backwards, forward, side, left hand, right hand, off the left leg, off the right leg. It's like, man, it's just not supposed to happen. But yeah, so reverse. You feel like the reverse is key, and that's one of the keys, man, of the 2 hidden gems, the jumping hires is, and it sounds so easy that a lot of people won't even try it. But if you just try it and do it, the results are miraculous. For those that do want to jump higher, do want to be more athletic, do want to like a extra edge in their game, getting to the ball faster, getting up, getting for a rebound, like doing different things in their sport, man. Try going reverse. So yeah.
It's my dad's favorite exercise too, and he's 64, and he goes on these massive hikes. So when you go downhill on a hike, that is really tough on the knees, going downhill. So boom, you get up to 10,000 feet elevation or whatever. Now you have to come back down, miles of downhill. So also, if you think of it in that relationship for longevity, well, we know that for older people, just going down the stairs is one of the leading causes of death. Like the strength is not there to handle going down the stairs. So using a sled in reverse allows you to strengthen that. So here's my dad, and it's so cool. It's my favorite exercise to know that I get to live in my 30s like feeling like a freak genetic 18-year-old. And it's my dad's favorite exercise to hike as if he's in his 30s rather than his 60s.
Yeah.
That's what matters most to me. And it saves we have 2 amazing videographers. One of them, his whole workout program with ATG is he does the sled portion.
Yeah, that's it.
And that saves him time to now spend more time with his family. So that's my number one favorite benefit of the sled, more time with your family. When you're having knee surgeries, that's brutal on you and your family. And it puts a strain on a lot of things. So
and it's our only cardio, man. I know we're not talking about that, but like really
sled and basketball once a week. That's our cardio.
That's really, I don't do any cardio besides sled, man.
Yeah.
But give us a science though, B. Give us a science, man. Why did I not realize that I started off 5-6 years ago? You showed me the sled. I started doing the sled, and I was like, man, my intuition was like, man, this is something your body needs. So I started doing it, and my knee healed, my hips rebalanced. I started being more athletic. I started playing
So
again.
good for the feet.
And so what? Give me the science, man. Give me the science is why this regained my athletic ability at 40. When 30, I couldn't touch the rim.
Yep. So let's start with the common sense, which is that if you take some activity where you're trying to go fast forward, and now you have to slow down from that to turn into a jump. This podcast is about jumping.
Yeah.
So when you're jumping, how much speed can you build? And then you have to slam that speed into your bones and joints and tendons. And so the stronger you are in the exact reverse of that, the easier it is to handle that force. Now, from a science perspective, that's common sense.
Yeah.
That's common sense, and that's physics.
Yeah.
From an anatomy and physiology, how our body's made up and how it works, from that perspective, the way that we do the backward sled is our knees are over our toes. What that means is we're not just seeing how much weight we can drag. We're using a weight that when we're going backwards, we can reach our toes behind our knees. That's the position that was found in the 1970s to put more pressure on your knees. So without any evidence that it was bad, it was just found knee over toe equals more pressure on knee, therefore let's avoid it. When in fact, an area of the body that has more pressure upon it ages biologically younger. If you want something to decay, don't use it. So this allows us to safely...
That's key. You need to say that again. If you want something to decay, don't use it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how the body works.
Yes, that's how life works.
So the concept of backward sled is scientific in every aspect of the word, from the physics of the matter to how your body is made up to how your body works. So when you go backward with the sled, this gives you a gentle way to get circulation, strengthening, and pressure in the very position that you need for your knee to last longer, which segues us right into part 2 of this podcast. The other hidden gem for jumping higher, you and I have both gone more backward sled than anyone in this time period and probably made the greatest jump transformation of anyone in the world in this time period. Yeah. But there's another thing that I've definitely done more than any other basketball player in this time period, and that's train the range of motion below what you use in a jump.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the science of how it works. Backward puts pressure that makes you younger. But there's another way to get a joint to change, and that's taking it through a full range of motion. So to get maximum, think of jumper's knee tendonitis.
Yeah.
Millions of people have jumper's knee tendonitis. Okay, the backward sled gives you pressure that can fix tendonitis. However, to maximally get your tendon to grow and develop, it also needs to be under a full stretch. It needs to go through that full compression. So this was confusing for me. Back in the day, I thought, why would you do a full range of motion squat if a jump doesn't look like that?
Yeah.
But it's because you're actually changing your body. So then when you do go jump, you now have stronger knees. Not to mention it develops that teardrop muscle, that vastus medialis more, which is the most fast twitch of your thigh muscles. So that's one most responsible for getting you off the ground for that youthful bounce.
Yeah.
So with reverse sled and full range of motion for the knees, you now have not only a way to get anybody results, but you actually have an unorthodox way that there's no evidence of any jump programs in history doing these things. They're common sense, but it's opposite of what most programs are doing.
It's so crazy, man.
Break it down.
It got so much going on in my mind right now. And one thing about you, and the first thing I want to ask you is, because people see you today and they like, this guy is a freak. Like, and they don't know how long it took you to develop your who you are today, you know? And how long have you been going on this? And how long has it take you to be, because you had 3 knee surgeries. You have not always been this flexible and athletic. You're not a genetic marvel, you know? So,
the opposite, the worst.
So what's it take to get that? When I see you, like before he came in here, he did squats with, 200 pounds with chains, you know, going full range of motion, bottom quarter wins. What did it take to
jumping over his head?
Jumping over my head with his knees to his ear.
I never have to worry about my knees.
Yeah, so what did it take, man, to get that range of motion? And how did you get from being inflexible to beyond flexible?
About 10 years of clues and trial and error. So for me, it was my greatest blessing was that I did reach age 20 and I had never even grabbed the rim and had the worst knees of anyone I knew growing up, and was embarrassingly slow to the point that even recruiters told me it would be impossible for me to play point guard in college. Then I started every game.
Damn.
So my greatest blessing was that all the things that I figured out, I was the worst at. So if I didn't figure them out, I still would never have grabbed the rim, and I would have probably be on my 10th knee surgery by now. So I had no choice. Pure necessity level. Either give up or figure it out. Fortunately, I figured it out.
Yeah.
So, but to really recap it for people on that, it's so understandable why we wouldn't train the reverse and the full range of motion, because that's the opposite of a jump. We're training the two most opposite things of a jump. So it's completely understandable why this was overlooked.
It's so counterintuitive. And all these jump programs, and I wanted to ask you that. I still want to kind of dig a little deeper into how long it took you to time after time after time to get to that depth, because I'm still trying to search for that depth, you know. But another
your squat depth is getting amazing.
Nah, I appreciate it.
I'm watching it change before my eyes.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But my other thing is, man, I've seen so many people go through these jump programs, I'm not even going to call the names out, but you're right. They just keep like plyometrics, jump, jump, jump. And then over time, and all my friends that done that end up having knees and Achilles, back. And then once they get a certain age, they don't even feel like jumping anymore.
Yeah, and the best jumpers you and I have seen didn't do those programs. They could just naturally jump. We've never seen a jumper produce. And I tried every, if you named like the top 10 top selling, I tried them all.
Yeah.
So tried them all. And well, I didn't have good results from it. So I had to figure out something different. So this is completely different. But let's look at some actual examples from history.
Yeah.
So when I really started digging in, who I identified as the best jumper of all time is Stephen Holm. The reason I identify Stephen Holm as the best jumper of all time is because he's in the sport of high jump, where it's measurable. And he was 5'11". So if you're just looking at the mechanics of his body to jump, his head to how high the bar was, he was the greatest jumper ever. But not only that, he didn't just get lucky once or twice. He also was the Cal Ripken, the Iron Man of high jump. He was able to compete more than anyone else. He would even go to tournaments that he didn't even have to qualify, that he didn't even have to go to qualify just for the local fans. So this guy was like me. He was a bulletproof freak in addition to being world class at his sport.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What do you do?
He's the deepest squatter in high jump history. His squat looks just like mine, maybe a little better. But in high jump, they avoid full range of motion because they think, oh, that doesn't train it. Well, guess what? The greatest success story ever in high jump had the deepest squat ever. And it's not just there. Kaddour Ziani in dunking. He has the highest claimed vertical jump ever, 56 inches. What matters, though? He's 48, and he's still dunking at 5'11".
That's crazy.
So he's the greatest longevity jump case ever for dunking. So the greatest longevity jump case ever for high jump, the greatest longevity jump case ever for dunking. Kaddour Ziani is an innovator. His knees, he's probably better at knees over toes than I am. He can probably bend his knees more than I am. He's going full, like his heel is in his glutes. He has the most flexible piriformis I've ever seen, which allows you to get more depth. So there's two. And then the greatest, not in high jump or dunking, just in the subject of jumping, the greatest longevity case ever was George Hackenschmidt. And there's pictures of him. He could jump over a table at 75 years old.
75.
75. And guess what?
What's his secret?
He trained, but he trained full range of motion even more aggressively than me. Like, I don't have any exercise that's as aggressive as what he used to do. He would hold the bar. We used to do it every now and then.
Hack squat
We used to do it every now and then. And for most people, it's just actually like, I don't think the risk outweighs the reward, but that's because we have other gentler methods to get the same result. Like I'm very good at it. Even though I don't train it, I'm very good at it. But it's so difficult that if you look in a college textbook right now at what a hack squat is, they turned it into a half rep thing. Imagine you're George Hackenschmidt. You go to all this work, create the greatest knee longevity results ever, and then they take your name to attach to the exact opposite of what you did.
Yeah.
That would be frustrating.
That's funny,
If anyone
man.
makes a Patrick machine that makes your knees go behind your toes, I'm coming for it.
Yeah,
I'm coming back next lifetime.
I'm telling you. Hey, listen, you're going to jump somebody else's body.
Is that? I mean, this gets me actually upset to think about all the work he put in for people now to be making machines that encourage you to do a half rep, which is exactly then what leaves your joint weak, your muscles get stronger than your joint, and you actually create a recipe for knee surgery and lack of jump results.
Man, that's happening all around the world. It's an epidemic of knee surgeries, man. And it's funny. It's actually what you're saying is like pulling me full circle. because when I was playing college basketball, we had a machine in our weight room. It was called a hack machine, and I was just like,
well, now hold a second. You're in college, right?
I'm in college,
right? Education, academia, historical perspective. Did they teach you about George Hackenschmidt?
My strength and conditioning coach was.
Wait, you're telling me you didn't learn about George Hackenschmidt? You didn't actually get educated on George Hackenschmidt.
I just thought that was.
You're telling me we're educating you right now.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why I get.
I just called it. They just said, "Oh, this is a hack machine." I was like, I just thought it was a hack machine. I didn't know it was named after somebody. I didn't know he had a full range.
I'll hack up your knees.
And it was like you go in this contraption and you just kind of go halfway and you like sitting back and you just.
Yeah, like you don't even bend your knees. Actually, you just just sit back.
And it was like, and the funny thing about it, man, like when you train in college, your body, your hormones are raging, and then they can throw anything at you. And at first, you start to jump higher and you get more athletic, and you're like, man, and then suddenly your body just starts to deteriorate.
Yep.
22, 23,
because
24.
You're training your muscles, but you're not training your knees. So you start
to jump,
to go
boom,
higher,
explode. Like I was jumping, my shoulder was at the rim.
Yep.
And then,
but then you start
my
to
junior
get it.
year, I didn't even want to come to practice, and it took me 20 minutes to warm up.
Derek was getting cortisone shots. You shouldn't be 20 years old having to get shots just to play your sport.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But it's because they're actually creating a body that loses its natural range of motion, that winds up with a weak joint. It doesn't matter how strong your muscles are on top of a weak joint. That's how you create short-term results that break down, and you can't make a long-term jump transformation that way. So that's why that's why every case that actually got, what are the jump results you want? You want to jump higher, and you want to be healthy doing so, and you want to be healthy the rest of your life. That's the results that everyone wants. And every case where that happened was based on this cold, hard science of how the body works through full range of motion.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you like literally, I'm so passionate about this now, man, because it's like literally taking me full circle. And all my friends through my era, 80 to 90% of them have knee surgeries, man.
I've seen them now. I've seen some of them come in. They are so broken down.
Man, it's like, yeah.
The current system is wrecking our bodies that it's actually going to be very hard to have a happy, healthy life as you go forward. If you're hooked on painkillers, depressed, then you start gaining body fat because you can't even go exercise.
Yeah.
And it starts with the sled. You can be in pain. You could have extra body fat, and you can actually sled your way out of that.
Yeah, daily sleds.
We see people every day sled themselves off of painkillers and sled themselves, into a better life.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I said, like I'm passionate about this now, and I hope this YouTube or this podcast goes viral, man, because this is something when I was 18, 19, 20, I wish I'd have just know about. Because and one thing that I wish I'd have known about too was never listen to anyone in any field that's not experiencing the results you want to produce. So these strength conditioning coaches, no knock to strength conditioning coach around the world, but my strength conditioning coach was built just like he couldn't barely move.
And if anyone,
he's teaching me how to jump.
If anyone ever throws in your face, what's your degree? What's your certification? If anyone throws that in your face, and just ask them for a book that shows them about George Hackenschmidt. Because it's actually the opposite. People are actually abusing the word education, not getting educated, and using it to prevent actual education.
Wow.
So that's all I got to say.
Break that down. Break that down. That's a whole nother podcast, bro.
If you want to learn everything we're talking about, this book is Changing Lives on Amazon, ATG for Life. Yeah. Knee Ability Zero simply shows you the best that I was able to come up with if you don't have equipment.
Yeah.
And then we do that, but we don't abuse that full range of motion. So we hit all the nooks and crannies around it. Let's pull up, for example, a reverse squat, Drew.
Yeah.
So right now, unfortunately, you can't go on Amazon and buy a reverse squat strap. Derek's just came in. He's got him right here.
Reverse squat strap.
So here's a simple example. Every time we squat, do you know what we do after that? We reverse squat. So this keeps our body in balance. So also don't assume that anything we've said in here is a cheat of the rest of your body. The sled makes everything easier. But then even if we get something like a full range of motion squat, that has the power to adapt us, improve us. A reverse squat then allows us to build all the opposite muscles. Yeah, so we take the time to work all these areas. And I think that's why the program works really smoothly for people, is that balance.
Yeah, the testimonies we getting coming in from your program is unbelievable. And one thing we didn't talk a lot about was last quarter really wins, you know? And that's kind of like what you were saying about getting those deep range of motion squats, deep range of motion split squats. And I feel like that's with every exercise right now. Every exercise I try to do for the past whatever months, I try to go full range of motion, you know, and my body just keeps getting leaner, stronger, more athletic, you know. So I like what you said a couple weeks ago, man. The last quarter wins.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about
this
that.
came from the ATG mentor, Keegan Smith, who was the first person I ever saw doing like full range of motion training like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Keegan Smith is very good at coming up with motivational type things.
Yeah.
So I was telling him, like, we need something to capture, to get this, you know, and so last quarter wins. In sports, last quarter wins.
Yeah.
When it comes to your exercises, last quarter wins. So we're not just bouncing out of squats or no, we're controlling weights through a full range of motion.
Yeah.
That's the science of how you get. That's the best we can do for our joints, is by actually controlling. But that might mean lightening the load. It's like a total rebuild process.
Yeah.
That's why we use something like chains, because that way I can go to my full range of motion, controlled, full pause. But then as I go up, the bar gets progressively heavier. So the trick for, say, a college sports team, you could have been jumping just as high that freshman, sophomore year, and then even higher junior, senior year, while feeling even better if you would have done the full squat with chains on the bar. Because then you are able to challenge through the entire range of motion, how much you can do through the top and the middle and how much you can do at the bottom. So I love it. Last quarter wins.
Last quarter
I'm going to get that
man.
on like a t-shirt or something.
I'm telling you, man. Keep that in mind when you're training, man. Last quarter wins.
Last quarter wins.
Keep that in mind.
I'm going to go get it in right now.
For your life. Yeah.
Time to
Likewise,
work out.
man.
Time to work out.
Leg, full
We got
range of
ATG
motion.
split squats. We got full stretch Romanian deadlifts. Last quarter wins.
Yeah. We
Brick
good,
check.
B? Oh, man. I forgot about the brick check. Let's get it.
Where we at?
What time we at, folks? We got enough.
21 minutes.
Derek's my motivation. Derek's 43. I'm a simple guy. I set goals that I know will make me happy. So Derek's my training partner. He's 43. I want to be like him when I'm 43. I'll be a happy man, an active dad. He's able to play basketball with his kids. His kid's going D1, and he's able to play with his kid. Like, that's the life I want to have. So at the end, when we do, or whenever we do our brick check, that's basically keeping us honest with our training, our diet, to motivate each other.
How your week been going, basically?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I'm here. He's looking good.
Hey, my goodness. Be stay
All right.
ready, man. Stay dialed in.
We love all of you. Your comments honestly make our days. If I'm ever having a rough part of my day, I hop on the YouTube comments on these podcasts, and it's just unbelievable, and it fires me up. So
Yeah, so
I was
much
off,
love.
I was off the mic there, but thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, so much love, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Last quarter wins, man. Never listen to anyone in any field is not experiencing the results you want to produce. And this guy is experiencing the results you want to produce, man.
So is this
ATG is leading the charge, man, creating a whole new lane. So, peace out.